Hi class, welcome back. The previous lecture, we talked about the importance of networking, and I gave you different tips and advice about what networking is going to be used for. Oh, and another thing that I wanted to point out is that it's always good to have business cards with your name and telephone number on it. Or if you don't have a business card, what you can do is just create additional cards for your own personal use that has your name, your email, and telephone number. That way, if you meet somebody randomly, it's something you can just give them so that they can put it in their wallet or their purse, opposed to writing it on a piece of paper that they can lose at any time. Now, talking about networking, it definitely affects asking for letters of recommendations, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's lecture. Now, let's discuss a little bit about what letter of recommendations really is. It's a letter written by a teacher or a supervisor or a manager or somebody who's a professional who can indicate specific qualities about your abilities, about your talents, about your skills, and about your past experiences. So basically, they're vouching for you, and they really feel that you be a strong candidate for whether you're applying to school or perhaps even a job that you're applying for. And again, how do you get these letter writers? People who write you letters of recommendations are the people that you networked with. So both of them tie hand in hand. Now, many people overlook the importance of asking for letters of recommendation. Now, when do you need a letter? Sometimes you need it, again, when you go to college. Some schools require letters, and some schools don't. But if you plan on going to graduate school, you will need letters of recommendation. And keep in mind that people who write you letters are the ones who will probably be your reference when you apply to a job. So, if you're looking for employment, there always, some jobs may ask, do you have references? Meaning, are there people's names and phone numbers that you can give us so we can call them and ask them for more information about you? Okay, now going back to some of the areas that students overlook when they're asking for letters, I've heard some students say, "Oh, I have enough time. I'll just ask someone for a letter recommendation later on." And guess what happens? By the time the letters need to be submitted, they can't find somebody, or the time had just passed. Another misconception is that some of you guys who are attending college may not even think about going to graduate school at this time. So you think, well, there's nobody that I really need to network with, or there's really no professor or manager that I need to stay in contact with because I'm never going to go to graduate school. Remember what I said about me? I never thought I was going to go to graduate school, but I did. And I'm very fortunate that I kept in contact with the people who are my letter writers today. Another thing is that, some students think, oh, I can just ask my professor. He or she will write it. Or I'll just go ask my manager later on. And guess what? I've seen on so many instances where professors and managers say no, they're not going to write it. Actually, when I was an undergrad, there was a student who came in to talk to my professor, whom I was already having a conversation with. And when the student asked my professor for a letter recommendation, he said no. I will never forget that, because the student was applying to law school, and my professor, who was a psychologist, just didn't believe in that major. So he said no. So these are just primary examples of why it's so important to ask for letters of recommendations right away. Now, when will you need a letter? I talked about that. Some four-year universities or colleges ask for letters of recommendations. Graduate school, typically all of them require it. Also, when you apply for scholarships, many of these scholarship funds, they ask you for letters of recommendations because they want to see if there's someone that you know who knows your abilities, who can again vouch for you of why you should receive it.